Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for round 21 of season 19. Welcome to the final four-race stretch that begins here under the lights in the magnificent city that is Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Zach Ossie, bringing you all the action of tonight's RDL racing. And with me tonight, as he was last week, is Ben. Ben, welcome along. First week in the books. Week 2 hopefully be as exciting as week 1 was.
Yeah, hopefully all being well, she'll be in for a cracker.
Obviously, Vegas still relatively new to the F1 calendar. Only hosted 2 real world Grand Prix. This will be I believe, the 4th or 5th time we're visiting Vegas at this stage. And hopefully it'll be better end to the stream than it was last season, of course, those of you who were here for last season's stream. A late desync for me in the final 2 laps led to us not seeing any of the final restarts. So hopefully we'll get a slightly better finish to this season's go around. As you see the first few cars, or the first car emerging on the track, that's DJ out on his first qualifying run. Of course, back to 3-stage quali this week after the short quali last week for the full-length Grand Prix. And obviously, in terms of the championships, McLaren, obviously, Ben, as we saw last week, fell back in the race. They're 98 points out now, and it looks to be down to Haas and Williams for that championship.
Yeah, I think McLaren are just falling a bit too far behind. Not discounting any of their drivers. Both drivers are pretty good, and they've definitely got capability. I think they've just had a bit of a weekend to forget in terms of contending with the likes of Williams and Haas.
Obviously, Che came away with the win last week, moves up to himself back into 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. 17 points off of Landor, so top 3 still on the table for him in the race, the Drivers' title. Of course, Grumio long gone with the championship down, 135 back from him in 2nd position. And as I say, 46 points the gap between Haas and Williams in the standings. Of course, elsewhere, we look towards the rest of the table. Red Bull lead Mercedes by 4 going into this one. It's a 4-point advantage. Sorry, no, I'll get my numbers wrong. Red Bull leading by quite a way to Mercedes, actually. It's currently an 18-point advantage in favour of the Bulls. And below them, it's 4 points separating Alpine and Sauber. But that's the race of P6. 20 points between Aston and Ferrari, and 10 separate the prancing horses from their Italian counterparts, RB at the bottom of the table. Of course, that race will likely go all the way to the wire at Silverstone in just 3 weeks' time. But I'd say in terms of a team to focus on for tonight, Ben, if you had to give me a team to keep an eye out for over the course of the evening, who would it be?
Well, I'd say it's more mid-part we're looking at this weekend. I think it's for Alpine and Kick Sauber. I believe there's only 4 points in it.
That'd be correct, yes. 4 points.
4 points. Wow. Yeah, so either these 2 teams could pull off some good result, well, looking good for them in constructors.
Should be good for them indeed. DJ on his first lap here, going into the 3rd and final sector on the circuit, making his way down that long back straight, heading towards the braking zone at turn 14. Very easy to get that one wrong, coming from such high speeds as you get up to on this Las Vegas strip. So down towards that braking zone, we'll see how he comes to an end with his first lap. Into 14 he goes now, of course, met immediately with turns 15 and 16 on corner exit. Good exit from the Alpine driver as he makes his way towards the final corner, that's turn 17 on the circuit. And it'll be the first time through this evening. Here comes the Alpine now towards the line for that final left-hander. It's a 131.7 from DJ. So there's your benchmark. And we'll see behind him who can top that as Grumio is making his way through turn 12 now. I believe his teammate JB may just cross the line for his first flying lap. Yes, indeed he has. Of course, JB still currently sort of falling back in the championship as it stands right now. 19 points from this season, 15th in the championship. I think by his standards, not the best of seasons so far, but we'll see if he can try and finish it off with a strong conclusion in these last 4 rounds.
Yeah, hopefully, all being well, may tighten up even more.
It's been very tight in the bottom half, I think, over the course of the season. 43 points scored by the 10th place man in the standings. That's Ethan for Aston Martin. It's another 13 back to Curtis in P11. 10th in P12. She's tied there with PJ for 13th. 12th and 13th, rather. Ben Lim, 20 points. JB, 19. Points distribution this season. I've said it many times over the course of this campaign, but points distribution this season has been very much one-sided. Grumio's obviously taken a lot of the scores from this campaign, because you got 7 drivers who have scored 100 points plus this season. The next driver being HB Cook, who's hit 88 points in this campaign. Scored points in the last 5 races, including the podium in Singapore. So I think HB Cook will be monumental in terms of helping Sauber push past Alpine for 6th place. And obviously, as you say, Ben, that's the one to watch tonight, I think.
Yeah, it's coming down to Alpine and Kittel. If either of them two teams can pull off a good result, then what's stopping them from achieving that P6?
Shouldn't be anything in their way. P6, yes. I have to be checking for a second there. Grumio goes fastest, 130.583 on the chart for the new and still reigning champion. DJ still in 2nd place. EJ in 3rd for Ferrari. He still had his 2nd lap deleted. JB in 4th place. PJ then 10th Cannon just crossed the line for 6th. So 10th with a bit of work to do there. Currently the slowest of the 6 times so far. Of course, we'll lose, as it stands, we'll lose 4 drivers coming into this session. Unless we get a late join from Landlord, who I believe is joining us during qualifying. Is the lone car not on the grid. That and Pope, who is having his spot taken by TJ in reserve this week. Of course, TJ gunning for a seat next season. We are reaching that point now, Ben, where we will start to see lineups getting confirmed, and we'll get more of a glimpse into next season's grid, which should be quite exciting.
These drivers will be giving it the absolute all to try to make it onto the grid. It is very competitive.
I like to think that the competition's gotten tighter and tighter in recent years in terms of the strength of the grid. But then you got Grumio, who's just sort of running away with the majority of races. So it's not the conclusions there aren't great to draw, but in terms of race winners, but in terms of competition from further back, there's plenty of it, as we can see in the championship, particularly in the constructors. Of course, that fight raging on across the table, several different scraps for points positions, which should be fantastic to see over the course tonight. And of course, it's a street circuit, Ben. Let's not forget that. So there's very little room for error around here.
So you've got your Las Vegas strip, which I believe is 2 kilometers long. It is a very long strip, that one. And then there's barriers absolutely everywhere. So one tiny mistake could end your evening.
Could end your evening very abruptly, to say the least. And obviously, at most, end the evening of perhaps even another driver. That's just how close the margins are on a circuit such as this one. 10 minutes to go then in Q1. We've had 8 cars come through set lap times. Curtis there in P4. Ericsson is in 3rd, 131.907, but still about a second and a half off of Grumio. And his teammate HB Cook currently sits there now in 4th place, 131.934. So those two Sauers evenly matched more or less from their first laps. We'll see if either of them can improve later on. Majority of cars are out on circuit here. I've been told that the tyre wear might be particularly high in this Grand Prix as TJ goes 2nd fastest, 131.502, but still a second back from Grumio. Well, we haven't seen any other front runners come out and actually put in their lap times. We're looking at drivers like Dan, Che, Imri in terms of qualifying pace. It's an ominous sign that Grumio is 9/10 in front of the nearest car as of right now.
Obviously, when we start to see the likes of Dan, Che, Imri all going out, I'm sure it will bunchen up a bit more than 9/10. However, Grumio is fantastic. We all know that Grumio's got way too much in locker. He's won 10 drivers' titles at the end of the day, so to be nearly a full second clear, that's saying something.
Can't argue with those 10 trophies he has in his Cadbury. You can't argue at all. But Imri is out on his first lap now. Che and Dan are both gearing up for their first runs as Imri comes through towards the Las Vegas Sphere over there at turns 7 and 8. See him riding the curve a fair bit there as he makes his way into the very tight left-hander. Very easy to make a mistake at turn 9, lose that right end plate on corner exit. But obviously, we've seen in the past, in previous Las Vegas Grand Prix, we've seen drivers such as Grumio one season lost his front wing at one stage and continued on. That was just the sheer difference in terms of downforce that the wing made in that sense. But Imri, though, is continuing on wing or no, and DRS about to come into play for him in a matter of moments as he makes his way down towards turn 14. DRS now in play at this point. 215 or nearly 215 miles an hour it was hitting there before he turned off the ERS as he makes his way towards the last couple of corners here to complete his lap. And we'll see whereabouts he puts himself, get an idea of where that gulf is between Grumio and the rest of the pack. We'll see how much Imri can bridge that as he heads towards the last few corners. Of course, it's been Grumio's near equal in qualifying this season. Imri crosses the line, and there it is. Only 10 thousandths in it between Imri and Grumio, and now, Ben, it's very much game on in this first round of qualifying.
There's no margin for error. As we see, Chase actually hit the back of his teammate and lost his front wing end plate. I
Oh,
think Chase get a bit of a slipstream behind his teammate and ended up hitting the back of Dan.
so he has, yes, indeed. Yeah, sorry for a second, I actually see the end plate going off, but yes, but you're completely right, Ben. Che's left end plate, rather, is gone. He crosses the line 132.2, and that would definitely have halted both cars here. Dan, I think, looks to be all okay, short of perhaps any floor damage that he might have gained from that. I doubt he would have had any, but tough break for Haas there. Not a fantastic start for the race winner last time around. Che going from that full Grand Prix victory in Brazil last week to a tough start this week, and we'll have to see how Haas recover on a day where Grumio looks in imperious form.
Che will need to go out again, without a doubt. He won't be safe for that lap.
I mean,
Is Dan slightly overcuts turn 7.
keep an eye on Dan as he makes his way out of 9 now. Che, obviously, yeah, I think you're completely right, Ben. We'll have to go again. 1.6 seconds off of Grumio's time. We know Che's much quicker than that. But Dan comes through. We'll see whereabouts he can put himself in relation to Grumio and Imrie. Whether it looks to be a sort of in terms of pace to be this far out, but from the race leader to the rest of the pack, it could be, as I say, a very ominous sign as Dan heads towards turn 14. Again, DRS in play now, and using a bit more battery than Imrie did on the run down towards that left-hander. He's bringing his battery all the way down here. Almost all the way down. He kept a little bit left. Che is obviously still on the circuit. Will likely pit this time, repair that wing. He's got 6 minutes, so might be leaving it a tad bit late, but in terms of when about this incident took place. But we'll see how Dan can respond now as he comes up towards the line himself. It's a 1:31.7. So I'm wondering potentially if both Haas cars have had some sort of problem. I mean, Dan in particular has had a problem on that first lap. Obviously, Chase is obvious. He's have wing damage without a doubt. Did you see? Ben, I'm guessing you saw. I'm guessing you saw it happen. How did it happen?
Che was trying to get a massive slipstream. I think the DRS and his just overall top speed just got him out. Just looking on Dan's lap time at the moment, he lost 0.3 to OC in that second sector. So I don't know if he missed an apex or had a bit of an oversteer.
Some form of mistake in play there for Dan. Obviously, on the second lap, he might be backing off, heading back to the pits, but a second off there, definitely not a fantastic start for either Haas car. And on a day where Grumio could try and close some more points for them in the championship, obviously JB there as well, currently sitting in P12, so down the order, he's 2 places up on Che, who's obviously looking quite nervously at that drop zone. But it's going back on the circuit now. Fresh wing is on that car, and we'll see how he responds to the incident first time around. As it stands right now, because AT is serving a qualifying ban for the penalties he accrued in last week's race in Brazil. Ben Limit is currently out on circuit. He hasn't set a lap time yet. Neither has Courtney Goblin or Alvar, but Courtney is emerging onto the circuit as we speak. As you see, Grumio go emerging as well. So we'll start to see these bottom guys gaining or getting on the track and putting a time in towards the end of the session. And whether we'll see Landlord later on, I doubt he will, which means likely he'll be starting last himself for the Grand Prix. But we'll see how he responds on that front. As Dan pits. There's PJ currently in 8th place on the circuit going through turn 5, or leaving turn 5, but 10 seconds down, so likely he's backed off. I think he's already gone for a lap on this run. Behind, you can see JB there. Majority of cars that are on the circuit on out laps, or in laps no one's really on a flying run at the moment, unless you count PJ HB Cook, rather, who's going for it in the Sauber. Bit of a slide there through turn number 8. Keeps the car under control. But we are reaching that point now, Ben. We have to start thinking about eliminations. As Ben Lim retires, I think he's retired in the pit lane. And Landlord's joined us.
He's retired in the pits, yeah. That's at least one RB out, and then obviously with Landlord joining a slight bit later on, it looks like McLaren are going to have some work to do.
McLaren under pressure indeed. Perhaps looking at both cars being out in Q1 if Landlord, for whatever reason, can't get out for a proper lap in time. He's got 3 minutes, so still there's plenty of time to get back under, but he's going to need to get out there quickly in order to avoid any sort of late drama. 10th is currently the last driver staying in for Q2 as it stands right now. She's 1.8 seconds for the top time. Che is coming through, start his next lap, and we'll see how much he improves by it on this time round. We'll see what in terms of whether there was any time to be gained in the first 2 sectors. Websy and DJ both retire. The Alpines P4 and P6, and that won't be a good sign for Sauber, despite them being in those guys being in P7 and P9. Ben, honestly, I slightly doubted your prediction, but I think you might be right. I think that battle could be the one to watch.
It's definitely going to be a very tasty one as the race unfolds, and obviously qualifying is such a massive part of this game. So, end of the day, it's only Q1. Things can change. Obviously, we were expecting the likes of Che and maybe Landlord is here, so Landlord may be able to get a lap in.
We'll see when about he emerges. There's yellow flags. We've opened sectors 1 and 3. Now there's sector 3. Once those are cleared, likely we'll be able to go get another in terms of timing. But that is Curtis going slowly here in the last couple of corners. Not quite sure as to why. I think he's likely finished his run. He's P10 right now. So both Ferraris are set to go through short of any large improvements. Courtney Goblin is there going through turn 10. So he's on his lap, sorry. And Landlord's retired. I think Landlord's disconnected. Right, so that means both McLarens are out, Ben, in Q1. And add insult to injury to those guys.
Yeah, that's a bit wide from JB. Just watching through JB's second sector, although he's going to pick up a nice toe behind Grumio here, he's gone slightly wide at turn 8, and then it were again at turn 12, I think it is, left-hander.
So a few mistakes then from JB. We'll see how much this toe helps him on the run down towards 14, keeping right on Grumio's tail, who backs off, obviously lets his teammate go. JB, this is his first race on a wheel and pedals today. He's had an enhancement in his setup. As it stands right now, he's still on for Q2, but he looks to be pitting this time. It looks as though those guys are calling it quits on that run then. So JB, was in quite a precarious position, but now I suppose not have to worry too much of both AT and Landlord down the order. But Cottony is there in P16, 2.6 seconds off of Grumio's top time. The gap, that time is 1:33.2 for the Mercedes driver. Alvar is going through to start his lap, will be his first and final lap now. He's RB's last hope to avoid double Q1 elimination. And 10th, I think, is going in on this lap. So, but I think she's likely safe in Q2 at this point, unless Cottony sees some big gains here in the last part of the lap.
Yeah, well, we're looking at Courtney and Alvar. Alvar has got pace in the RB, so who knows, maybe 10-4 actually needs to push on this lap.
Have to go all out here to see what he can try and muster up to get himself in, and his team, no less, into that second part of qualifying. Alvar through turn 8 and now 9. Keeping things nice and controlled here. Imri's also on the lap. He's had his lap deleted. 10th is also there. Whether they're looking for a bit of a slipstream to avoid any doubt for 10th. Obviously, Alvar may put himself in a good spot this time around. Checker flag is up. Che is coming towards the line. He's pitting here. He goes up to P8 in the end, so obviously safe in Q1. Dan is in P6, so Haas not a fantastic start by their normal standards. 10th's improving by a tenth and a bit, going towards 14 now. Che retiring. He's calling it quits for this session, as I say. Connie stays in P16, so it's down to Alvar now to see who makes it into the last bit of qualifying. And I dare say that 10th is Alvar a few tenths of a second up on the Red Bull. 10th cannon crosses the line, goes P13. That'll put JB at risk of the drop, and Alvar was 4 tenths up, as I say, in that second sector compared to 10th cannon's time. So this could be JB getting eliminated late on here, and it is. Alvar goes P9, and JB in his first race in the wheel and pedals will join Courtney Goblin, AT, Landlord, and Ben in at the bottom 5. EJ squeaks into Q2 by 32,000 of a second. 10th cannon then 14th. Ethan, Curtis, HB Cook, they sit outside the top 10. That's the end of Q1 then. Grumio is fastest by 11 thousandths to Imri. TJ a full 9 tenths back from the top time in 3rd place. Ben, as you say, it's only Q1, but that is still a very ominous sign, no matter how you look at it.
I'm very surprised by Ericsson's lap time. He's done fantastic in that Q1 session. P5. So it's only Q1, but if he's got that sort of pace in him, who knows?
Definitely a long way to go, but a good sign for both Saubers and both Alpines to be up there fighting in the top 10. Q2 should be very entertaining, and we'll be back with you in a moment. So Q2 then, moments from getting underway. There is the green light, 15 minutes here for the 15 remaining drivers to settle things on track, and we'll see who's got the speed for Q3. And obviously after that Q1 for Grumio and Imri, I think they'll be the ones to battle once again in terms of pole position this season. Obviously Q2 gets a bit more interesting. We'll start to open things up in terms of who will make it into that last part of the session. Obviously Ericsson P5 the bit. I'm guessing that he's sort of your sleeper pick for the race tonight in terms of qualifying.
I think Ericsson's going to do rather well. Hopefully I've not just cursed him, but Ericsson's looking good already.
I can see the Sauber team bringing both cars on circuit. There is Ericsson coming out of his pit box, getting set for that first run. Imri, first car out on track, wasting no time here as Q2 gets fully underway. Curtis also out onto the circuit. The train beginning to form here out of the pit lane. And we'll see, in terms of these first laps, who's got the nerve on this street circuit to contend for a spot in the top 10. Majority of cars out on track, save at the minute for Alvar, TJ, Dan, Ethan, Grumio, and Websy. So we've got 9 cars, make that 10, sorry, as Websy does indeed join the circuit. Everyone else, those other 5, all staying where they are to kick things off. So Imri leads them out. He's going through turn 10 as we speak. And again, it was a long way between TJ and Imri from second to third in Q1, but only 11,000 separating Grumio and Imri at the end of that first qualifying session. So those two look to be the favourites without a doubt.
Imri's looked really quick throughout qualifying this season, so let's just say let's expect the unexpected from Imri.
I have to wait and see. I mean, Imri has been one of those challenges this season who can sort of appear on pole one week and put himself sort of P5, P6 the next. But obviously, in terms of poles this season, he's taken 7 of them. He's only one off of Grumio for most poles in this campaign. Che has 3. But Imri's still gunning to become the 5th winner this season. They only have 4, those being Pope, Che, Dan, and Grumio. So whether we can add a 5th winner, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we've seen Landor come close a fair few times, but Imri's just sort of waiting for that day at this stage. Majority of cars out on circuit now. Only Alvar and Ethan staying in the pit lane. Websy and Grumio, so both going for it at a minute, both on their outlaps. Websy's coming through to start his. Grumio heading down towards turn 14. Imri is on that first lap. He's going past the sphere now. 26.5 his first sector. We'll see what his second sector looks like when he comes towards the exit of turn number 12, heading into the third and final sector of the lap. It's a fast one. A lot of straight line speed is required at a circuit like this. Obviously, equal performance for everyone, so that's not always a concern in terms of car performance, but it's all about setup in that case, trying to extract the most out of the machine you possibly can. It's Imri goes 56.7 in his second sector.
It's kind of one of them tracks where you need your downforce in sector 1, and of course your push going in sector 3. But it's a very fast street circuit, kind of like Baku.
There's definitely a resemblance there in certain parts of that circuit. I think Baku is a bit more of a challenge in terms of both being sort of high speed and low speed parts of the circuit. You look, of course, at the castle section there as one of the low speed parts, but obviously the main straights, I think you're definitely looking at Baku as a template there. As Imri goes fast, it's 1:31.953. So perhaps not quite there in terms of pace, but let's not forget, likely these guys will be using worn soft tyres from Q1, and they'll bolt on their fresh set of softs for the rest of their second laps, as both DJ and Che quickly upend Imri's first time. So a lot of work to be done all of a sudden for the Red Bull driver. I think will be a sheer way off pace as PJ and 10th go 4th and 5th. Ericsson to 4th, 1:32.1. But still looks to be faster than the majority of guys below him. Obviously, PJ, HB, and 10th. We'll see whether Ericsson can maintain this sort of form and push himself into a spot for Q3. Because honestly, you've opened my eyes, Ben. I'm interested now to see how he gets on over the course of this evening's racing.
Ericsson's looking fast. So, Props to him is already up in P6, and well, let's face it, he's not too far off Imri. I did catch a bit of a moment for 10th. Looks like 10th actually locked the rear axle just at the end of the strip there. So 10th has got more time in it, and then you're looking at the likes of probably maybe one of the Ferraris. I think this time everywhere, Alpine are flying so far.
Flying indeed, 4th and 5th a minute. Websy 4th, DJ in 5th, and they were 2nd and 3rd until Che and Dan came through. All of a sudden, those guys have found their spark again, but Grumio is still almost 2 tenths in front of Che as they make their way through the end of the 3rd sector, or rather, they were together. I think they've split up at this stage. Dan, I think, has backed off considerably, and Che is on his way out of turn 16 now, likely heading back to the pits to go and sort things out for another run. But solid start then for the majority of cars. 10 cars have set times. Again, 10th finds herself on the bubble there. Currently in 10th place, 1:35.3, a fair few seconds off of Grumio's top time in this session. Ethan, Curtis, EJ, TJ, and Alvar all yet to put laps in. Of course, Alvar came and denied JB very late on in the session. We'll see whether he's got the nerve to try and upend somebody else again in terms of fighting for that spot, as I drop my controller on the ground. Let's not do that. So TJ on his way through the 2nd sector, now heading towards the sphere. Giving the car nice control, of course, standing in for Pope this week and still looking to make his case for next season's grid. It'll be interesting to see in terms of lineups what changes, whether we see any new partnerships on the grid as we have done this season. Of course, you looked at Imri in terms of partnerships. He's been with a fair few teammates this campaign. 10th Cannon, I believe, is the... Sorry, actually, no, scrap that. 10th Cannon is the 2nd teammate, I believe, that Imri has had in terms of... But a lot of reserve teammates have come Red Bull's way. But even so, they're still fighting Mercedes for 4th place in the championship and look to be in the driving seat going into these last 4 rounds in terms of that fight for 4th.
Yeah, I think obviously Pope is a bit of a miss for Mercedes, but then you've got the likes of TJ, who was up there in Q1, so who knows?
Obviously, be a tough ask for Mercedes. Obviously, the reserves can't score points in that sense, but obviously TJ was out there, P3 in that first session, and P3 again here as he crosses the line, 1:31.362, sorry, and that is obviously still about a quarter of a second back. So things have changed a bit. The pace, I think, is dropped as slower by almost a second or so compared to about half a second compared to the last laps in Q1. But most likely, as I say, we'll see the drivers bolting on fresh tyres and going again. I think Imri's out on the circuit now. Yes, indeed he is. I think he'll likely be the first to have switched over, which means we should start seeing some faster times from here.
All being well, it looks like the track may have cooled down or heated up a bit too much. I don't know. It's either that or it's purely down to tyres. I think. Wait, Grumio, that's at 30.5, right?
Yes, so that, I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
Grumio 30.5, so Grumio's got another 6-7 tenths in him, along with the likes of Imri, who is, well, let's just say Imri's down in 8th.
Yeah, so
Imri's under pressure.
A bit more pressure than usual for Imri, but obviously he's on that fresh set of soft tyres, so likely we'll see a lot more out of him. As Grumio retires from the session, I think perhaps saving a set of softs for Q3, which could be interesting to find out later on. But Imri starts against his next lap. Of course, he'll be Grumio's closest challenger in quali, unless of course we do see a bit more of an appearance from the 2 Haas cars as opposed to Q1. Imri down towards turn 4 to complete that first sector. He's down to P9 now, as we see Curtis into 8th, currently fighting for a spot in the top 10. Oh, excuse me. As it stands right now, we're looking at PJ, HB, and 10th, the 3 slowest times. EJ and Alvar yet to put laps in, but EJ is out on circuit and coming towards the line now, so we'll see what he can put in terms of fighting for a spot in the top 10. It could be a 31 here from EJ potentially, or a low 32. Low 32 indeed, 1:32.221. A lot of 2s in there, but currently the first car out, so Ferrari need a little bit more to get both their cars into Q3, but it's looking good for Curtis, not so good for EJ by comparison. As Imri goes to second up in that second sector. Christ, he is on pace.
Wow.
So keep an eye on Imri as he passes the Sauber there, the lone Sauber of HB Cook on its outlap, who has let the Red Bull go. And we'll see a fair bit of pace. We could be looking at 30.9 potentially from Imri. I think at a peak in terms of based off pace in the first 2 sectors. Whether he gains a lot more in this last one, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to avoid getting this lap deleted because it's a good lap, to say the least. And he could top Q2 with it potentially as TJ retires from 3rd. So those guys Grumio and TJ looking safe in the top 10. Imri towards the line now to complete that lap. He goes 130.4, so big gains, Ben. And yeah, he gained about a second and a half on that lap. Brilliant stuff.
Makes sense of Grumio a little bit. Grumio's on used tyres, so maybe when they're both on equal tyres, there may only be a couple dents in it.
It would definitely be interesting to watch come Q3, but in Grumio, yeah, if he's on used tyres, that one lap will likely have a set of softs left over for those last few runs in Q3, and that'll be a very exciting watch. He's been fantastic qualifying here over the course of the last few seasons. EJ is still on circuit, but it's pitting this time. He's got 4.5 minutes to come in, bolt on a fresh set, and come back out again should he have a fresh set in the tank. We'll see here what he's got. But he only needs about a tenth or so to knock Ericsson into the bottom 5. And Alvar, still the lone car set lap time. He is on the circuit now on his out lap. HP Cook is also on his, well, he's on his flying lap. He's in P13. Needs a lot more out of that Sauber to get himself into the top 10 as he comes through to complete Sector 2. It is a gain of 4.5 tenths. So as it stands, that would put him inside the top 10. So it's looking good for him. He's got a toe there from the Red Bull of Imri potentially on the run down towards turn number 14. These two obviously quite close in terms of pace. And only two places separate them both in the championship in this season. But HP Cook makes the pass and Imri as he rounds turn 16 and up towards the last corner on the circuit. Whether that toe that he got off Imri will be a big help for him up towards the line, we'll wait and see as he comes through to cross it. 1 minute 31.5, so enough for P6, and that'll knock his teammate into the bottom 5. That'll knock EJ even lower. So all of a sudden, you need a lot more out of these qualifying times in order to hoist yourself up into the top 10.
Just some information on EJ. He was fighting the car through turn 14, 15, 16 on his fastest lap, so he's probably still got another couple of tenths in him.
He's heading back out now, and with 3 minutes to go, he's still got time to get himself going once more. I think he's got plenty of time. Yeah, we're starting to see those sort of late runs now. Then we're looking into the last part of Q2 now, and we'll start to get a sense of who is in Q3 and who is out. Of course, those three drivers who have retired, Grumio, Che, TJ, I think are likely locks. I think Imri's safe as well. I can't see him getting knocked out from where he's there. Practically impossible at this stage. Yeah, I mean, DJ is currently sitting there on the drop zone. Webbsy not too far in front of him. Curtis currently holds that last spot, but he's 3 tenths up over Ericsson and 4 tenths over his teammate EJ. So those guys have some work to do. PJ is on a flying lap now for Aston Martin. Of course, those guys sort of being chased by Ferrari a little bit. 20 points separating them in the constructors, but 20 points to the good for Aston Martin. So they'll try and maintain that advantage. I doubt they can nick P7 or P6 off of Sauber Alpine. They're 45 and 49 points behind those guys, respectively. So PJ enters Sector 2 now. In terms of his Sector 1 time, can't see it, unfortunately. I missed it. That's on me, because I was too busy rambling on. But we'll see how he lines up. And I can actually see his teammate Ethan coming into play. Whether there could be a toe in mind for the two green machines, that's to wait and see here.
I wonder, PJ would a couple tenths up, so probably he's just gone nearly 4 tenths faster. So if he holds his lap together, he's looking at maybe 9th or 10th.
Well, he reached Ethan quite quickly there as he heads down towards 14. There's still plenty of battery to use in the last sprint up towards the line. So we'll see whereabouts he winds up. And he needs, as it stands, he needs about half a second to get himself into Q3 based on his previous best effort and where Curtis sits right now. Just over a minute to go, and majority of cars, save for Imri, 10th, Ethan and Webbsy, are on their final laps as we speak. PJ into P7, that'll knock both Ferraris now into the drop zone. Curtis is P11, HP Cook retiring from P6. I think he's likely safe as well, given the gap, looking about a quarter of a second between him and elimination. Both Alpines, who look quite strong in Q1, they were in sort of running around that top 5. Now both of them could be at risk here of elimination come the end of Q2 in 40 seconds time. It depends on what Curtis, Alvar, Ericsson, EJ and 10th can all do.
So it's always tight in this end part of Q2. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 drivers. Well, there's 4 drivers separated by just over a tenth. So we'll see what happens. As Ericsson is flying down the Las Vegas strip.
And into turn 14 he goes, avoiding that yellow flag that's there behind him from one of the Red Bulls. So let's grab that back. That's the RB of Alvar. My colour scheme is still not quite right with these Red Bulls and these RBs, but Ericsson into turn 17 now, towards the line. Can he keep his hope alive? He can. P6, the checker flag has just started, just come up now. Curtis into P6. That'll knock Ethan and Websy into the bottom 5. Websy's improving slightly. End of the first sector. EJ is improving, but not enough. He is out, unfortunately, by a few tenths coming into this session. Alvar is looking to be out as well. He's coming into the pit lane with a lap time deleted. He is eliminated from Q2. P14 at best for him. 10th cannon up in Sector 2, and could still get a toe off of Imri, but she needs a lot more than that to get herself up into Q3 right now. 1:35.3 is her lone time she's set in this session. So it's a lot on the line for us. The Aston Martins both crossed the line. PJ in the pits. Ethan is in P11, so he is also out. Websy looking to try and push himself at the bottom 5 and knock his teammate in as a result. He's currently almost a quarter of a second up as he heads towards turn 14 for the final time. And a toe could be in play here as 10th is improving by 6/10 come the end of Sector 2. I guess a lot of time to be gained in this final sector as Imri almost went for it for a split second there. Almost went back to the inside of his teammate going towards turn 14. Both cars survive, and 10th will make that charge towards the line now to complete that lap. Imri will top Q2. Can 10th get through as well over the line? It stays P15. So not enough for 10th, unfortunately, with P15 for her for the Grand Prix. She is out, and DJ into the pit lane is also out. So by a mere 0.02 of a second, PJ advances into Q3, and HB Cook advances himself by 0.03. Look how close that is, Ben, there, come the end of Q2. So now have our top 10 who will fight for pole in Q3.
Critical for that is critical for this race. Both kicked Albers in and only one Alpine into Q3. See what happens as the race unfolds, but I'm sure DJ's got a bit more pace in that Alpine.
I mean, you see just how close it was between those 3-4 cars they're about. Of course, as you see, Websy also, I mean, the lone Alpine in Q3, but also qualifying higher for Q3 than both those two Sabres. So that fight will be one to watch in the last part of qualifying. But for now, then it's Imri who went fastest by 6/10 in the end over Grumio. Obviously, on that fresh set of tyres, likely a few drivers saving their sets for Q3. Grumio second, Che in third, TJ and Daniel top 5, Websy, Curtis, Ericsson, HB Cook, and PJ Caleb will fight for pole position in Q3 shortly. We'll be back after this. So Q3, they're about to get underway. The green light is there in the pit lane, and we're just waiting for the first car of our final 10 to emerge here to see who will claim pole position here on the Las Vegas Strip. Can Imri tie Grumio's 8 poles this season? Can Grumio add a 9th? Could Che get a 3rd? Could anyone sneak up on the sort of the top 3 over the course of this season in terms of qualifying and nab a pole for themselves? It's going to be very interesting to watch. How will those Sabres fare? TJ there in the top 5, the lone reserve. Will he be a hindrance perhaps to the cars behind him? Ben, you said to me in that brief moment when we were off air that TJ could be perhaps a roadblock for the cars behind who look to try and score points. Obviously, as you say, reserves can't score.
Yeah. The more I'm thinking about it, I think whilst TJ does have pace, it's just going to be a bit more frustrating for those behind. See. Right, well, it could have been like this. But because TJ's flying at the moment, like, they may get a bit annoyed by that, but we'll have to wait and see.
It should be an interesting one to watch here, especially in the Grand Prix. 25 laps coming your way in just over 15 minutes' time. But in the meantime, though, we have still got a fantastic Q3 session lined up for you. Grumio, we believe, has definitely got more than one set of soft tyres to be used in this last part of the session. Imre, I think, that only has the one fresh set, so whether we see him go for a worn tyre run here, we'll have to wait and see what he's got planned. As a number of cars sat there waiting behind Imre for him to get going, you can see the Haas of Che, and there goes the Aston Martin of PJ through. PJ squeaked into Q3. Obviously, it was only a few thousand separating those cars and the bubble coming into the session. So it'll be interesting to see how close this session is as we look to find our 21st pole sitter of the season. Of course, there's 2 more full Grand Prix qualifyings after this one, and then obviously short quali. Actually, no, scrap that, no quali for the finale in Silverstone. Of course, that'll be reverse grid in terms of an average over the course of the campaign, obviously taking the Drivers' Championship into account, and that'll just be, and obviously that'll be a full Grand Prix come the end of the season. So no qualifying in place. So only 2 more qualifying sessions, Ben, until he gets cap off this season in terms of these 1-lap runs.
The season's gone really fast. Like 1 minute is round 4, 1 minute is back in Vegas. So we'll see what happens. Is PJ is just tried to set his 6-1 that time, and it's 26.7. I think PJ may be on a used set of tyres, judging by that set 1 time.
We'll see how the rest of the lap stacks up for him. He was one of the first ones round. We saw him go past Imre, I think it was backing Che up, or he was backing up on his outlap. But majority of cars out on the circuit. The only one who's not is Ericsson, who's still in the pit lane for Sauber. But his teammate HP Cook is on circuit and coming towards the end of the first sector now. HP comes through 26.4, so faster than PJ was in that first sector. This 56.9 from the Aston Martin as he completes sector 2. So we'll keep an eye out in terms of who's on what tyre, and likely we'll almost guarantee that everyone will be on fresh tyres for their last runs in this session. 8 minutes to go, and still looking for that first time. Number of cars coming through here. You can see PJ is, say, in turn 14 as we speak. Websy is there just in front of Imre, and also in front of Che as well. But Websy's been backing off. Obviously, he's on that lap. Can't let those guys, getting those guys away too much. Towards the line for PJ, so the first time in the session will be a 1 minute 32.2. First time in on the board. Imre is coming in behind him. We'll see whereabouts the Red Bull driver can stack up. Now looking for his 8th pole of the season. It's 1 minute 30.7. That's a big gap there. Second and a half. 1:31.2 for Che. Where is Grumio? Because he'll be the first sort of marker here to keep an eye out for. 55.3 for Grumio in his second sector. That is murderous pace, Ben. We could be seeing a fantastic provisional pole time here in a few seconds' time.
Grumio's always quick. I think if that is a used run, as Grumio does set a 3.3, if that is a used run from Imre, that is a good lap.
I have to wait and see whether Imre's gone for that fresh set right away. But regardless, Grumio 4/10ths up over his closest competitor. Grumio's been dominant so far in terms of these runs on fresh tyres. Give everyone freshies, and he is gone. He is going for it. Websy there, one of the lone cars, hasn't set a time yet. Obviously, he went out a bit late for his first lap. He's going through turn 10 as we speak, but it doesn't look to be isn't as quick. I think he may be backing off and going again on this lap. As you saw, Dan go third fastest there, 1 minute 30.920. So 3 cars into 130s. Can Che try and break in this last run? We'll have to wait and see. Yellow flag as one of the Saubers stopped off, or slowing up rather. That's HP Cook in P6. So things are looking very good for Sauber regardless. Both their cars there in Q3. We'll see if Websy can try and match them in terms of pace this time round. Obviously topped them both in Q2. We'll see whether we can continue that on in Q3. I think for the minute backing off and leaving it until charging on this next lap. Likely we'll see him go full blast towards the line to complete lap 1. Oh, and that's a tap to the outside wall there for Websy. And that's an end plate loss. And all of a sudden that next run is derailed. Websy enters the pit lane, and that could be tough for Alpine, as they may lose a number of places here compared to where Websy could put the car. As Ericsson comes through, made it into the top 10 himself. Can he get himself any higher than P10? Can he try and match his teammate? Sauber looked to have the upper hand here, Ben.
Yeah, we're just catching that through sector 3 with Websy. I think Ericsson just had a bit of fun this day through turn 3, turn 4 then. We'll see what his first sector time will be like in just a moment of time. Will it be 26.3? So I think he's up by 10th over his teammate.
We'll be impressed to see how these two sort of play this one out as teammates looking for obviously the best result in terms of the organisation. They still obviously still chasing Alpine just by those 4 points, so it's getting closer and closer over the course of the season. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in that fight come the end of the campaign. But in the meantime, though, we have still got 5 minutes to go in this session. Ericsson 56-0, the second sector. So looking good, looking faster than some of the other times we've seen over the course of this session so far. As I say, last 5 minutes, everyone in the pits except for Ericsson, who's on that lap now. But likely give it a minute or so, and we'll start to see drivers emerging for their second and final runs of this session. Into turn 14 now. Ericsson on his way through to complete his first lap of the session. He comes very close to the outside wall, leaving turn 16, but gets away with it and will continue on. Fortunately, he didn't end the same way as Websy did. And towards the line, Ericsson coming through with 1 minute 31.4. And that's faster than his teammate by almost half a second. Fantastic lap there from Ericsson. Puts him into P6.
Good luck. Ericsson's been on fire this qualifying session, so we'll see if he can carry it over into the race. Obviously, that's where the main points are scored, but it's a good lap from Ericsson. Really good lap. To be only a tenth and a half off Curtis is not bad.
Not bad at all here. I'd say, I don't know what you had in mind when we had Ericsson down as the the pick in Q1, but I will sit there and applaud that decision, Ben, because obviously, as you say, Ericsson is on it tonight, and we'll see hopefully if Sauber can bring that into the Grand Prix. Obviously, big points on the table for them if they do. If they were to finish the race where they are now compared to Alpine, they'd be gaining, I believe they'd be looking at gaining a good 13 points, which would put them not only in front, but in front by 9 going to Qatar next time out.
Yeah. PJ will be the first one to set his final lap time. He's gone out very early, PJ.
So still 3 minutes to go, as you say. So yes, yeah, potentially a bit early, but might want to try and beat the traffic, which can come out very quickly in the last part of qualifying. So we'll see when that sort of training starts to build. I think Curtin may have had the same idea. Dan and Che now onto the circuit, whether those two are looking to go separately on their qualifying runs, give each other toes in that sense. Have to wait and see what the game plan is for those guys. It should be interesting to watch, and we'll see who's got the speed to try and top Grumio later on. Can Imri gain those crucial few tenths and pull it off? Could Grumio continue on his pace and perhaps find out 129 potentially? You never know. We've seen Grumio in the past pull out mad laps in the end of a session, but it'll be very exciting to see what he can do in terms of this final run.
Both the top two are leaving it quite late. They want to get a bit of a move on.
Both cars.
Is yeah, Khaled is just starting his lap now.
PJ Khaled through for Aston Martin, and last lap on the table for the Green Machines as he enters turn 1. Ericsson retiring, calling it quits in the pit lane. I think HB Cook is going out by himself then for this final run. So Ericsson potentially could still find himself in P10 come the end of this qualifying session. We'll have to wait and see. But still, obviously, a top 10 start. Fantastic for them. As I can see in the Discord server, their former driver from this season, Obsessed Gamer, cheering them on. So always good to see that Obsessed continues up his support of the RDL. HB Cook then, as I say, out by himself here for this last run. And it's looking as though Haas haven't really got time to be playing a team game. It looks as though Dan is the car in front and Che will be trying to get a tow off of his teammate going on to these last runs. Yellow flag, second sector. That is PJ who's backed off, I believe, and let the Ferrari go.
You said 26.3, but then went very wide at turn 6 and then again at turn 7. So I can understand that one. He's got enough time.
Yep, he's got a minute to make it to the line there, so yep, shouldn't be any concern for PJ in terms of going for one more lap. We'll have that ERS fresh and ready to go. I imagine the soft tyres will be slightly less potent in terms of lap time, but we'll see whereabouts he puts himself as he looks to try and improve on that 132.2 he got earlier in the session. Final minute then. Websy is out on circuit. TJ also out on circuit, improving by almost 2 tenths. So good start to the lap from the Mercedes driver, but not enough right now to get himself any higher in the order based on that performance alone in Sector 1. We'll see what the Haas cars have got. Both cars look to be improving here. As we make our way into... Oh, Kurtz into 4th place there for Ferrari. Dan and Che both improving. Che by half a second. He needs a bit more than that if he wants to try and put the car on pole for the 4th time this season. But a big toe could be set to come his way here, going down towards turn 14. It'll be very tight in qualifying, this late qualifying session. Imri is down in the first sector and locked up going into turn 7. So it looks as though Grumio could be a lock here for pole. Curtis there in 4th place, as I say. Likely that'll be his peak. Can Che? I think Che will likely top him here. There's not a lot of gap between the two of them. Only 12 thousandths at the end of Curtis's lap. Che into 3rd place, 1:30.797. He's 600ths off of Imri. Imri, who is backing off, and he's got damage.
Imri's done. Yeah, I didn't quite catch it. I literally caught this last second of it. I'm guessing he hit the curb too hard and it just smashed him straight into the barrier. Nevertheless, it looks like Grumio's got this one in a locker.
So last corners then for Grumio, and whether the only question now is, can he try and find more time to perhaps put the car in the 129? I think there's every chance that the 10-time champion indeed does just that. Coming up towards the line now, I think he might do it. You know, he will do. Oh no, he's just missed out on that, but still the fastest time by 7 tenths, 1:30.036, and it's a dominant pole time. Imri soundly beaten in this last session. Got damage on that final run. HB Cook into the last couple of corners now. PJ up by 7 tenths. Could try and put himself onto that 4th row with either Ericsson or Curtis. Good race, good qualifying from Sauber. PJ into 8th place. That'll put both Saubers on the 5th row. Websy qualifies in P6. So all of a sudden, Alpine upper hand. HB Cook into P7. I think I saw Ericsson P9 in the end. And that'll do it for qualifying then. Grumio is on pole and looks poised to take another race victory this season. So there is your top 10 then. Grumio fastest, he'll take pole, but Imri will be side by side with him for the run towards that first corner. Short runs turn 1. 2 Haskars together in 3rd and 4th. Che in 3rd, down in 4th. TJ rounds out your top 5 as a reserve. Websy, HB Cook, Curtis Shepard, PJ Khaled and Ericsson round out your top 10. And that'll do it for qualifying then. And we should be back with you in a few minutes' time for the start of the Grand Prix. Welcome back then to the Las Vegas Strip for what promises to be a very exciting 21st round of the Racers Driving League Season 19. If you just missed qualifying, you then will be in for quite a exciting time here. Grumio obviously on pole by a fair bit, but this is Vegas, and if anyone takes the right gamble, they could win big on a circuit such as this one. There is a look at your track. 25 laps on your way today. Grumio, the defending winner, after a dominant run late in these Grand Prix. He's won the last 2 Vegas Grand Prix to memory. 17 corners. Obviously, the circuit covers the entirety, or the majority. Well, I say the entirety, a good part of the Las Vegas Strip, and it should be a very exciting run down to turn 14. Starting lineup about to get underway here as the formation lap gets going. 20 cars on the grid. We'll take you through your starting grid and of course starting tyres for this Grand Prix as well. 3 medium tyre starters. 3 hard tyre starters. Everyone else on mediums. Ben Lim starts from P20s on the medium tyre for RB. Didn't get a lap time in, neither did Landlord or AT. McLaren with a lot of work to do in this Grand Prix to fight for a points paying place, but more or less locked into 3rd place in the Constructors. Courtney Goodwin, the last car on a hard tyre, starts from P17. The lone car that can score from Mercedes today with Pope not here. JB lines up P16, first race with his new wheel and pedals. We'll see if he can try and salvage some points from P16. 10th lines up P15, hoping to get herself back into the points after a tough run of form in the last 2 rounds in Mexico and Brazil, but 2-point scoring finishes in Singapore and in Austin. P14 is Alva, of course, got the RB team into Q2 just about, but was denied late on in that session. EJ into P13, looking to help some points for Ferrari, help them try and catch Aston in the late stage of the season. Aston line up P12 and P9 in this race. Ethan in 12th on that medium tyre. DJ in P11, of course, didn't manage to make Q3 in the end, lost out by a few thousandths to the guys in the top 10. Ericsson lines up P10, one of his better qualifying runs this season, but hasn't scored points in 4 rounds. Could today be the day for him to get back in the top 10 in the Grand Prix? PJ P9 looking to try and add to Aston's tally as they seek to maintain their gap to Ferrari in 8th place. Curtis P7 looks to try and close that gap as a result, and may well look to try and take away a few points off Ethan in the Drivers' Championship as they race for the last spot in the top 10. HB Cook lines up P7 and will be leading the charge with Sauber in tonight's race as they sit 4 points behind Alpine in the Constructors. Websy will try to stop him and trying to add to that advantage. Websy 2-point scores in his first 2 races back with us. TJ in P5, reserving there for Mercedes in place of Pope. The 2 Haas cars on row 2, Che and Dan. Che won last week. Both cars trying to increase the 46 points lead they've got on Williams in the Constructors. Imri lines up 2nd place. They're still looking for that first win in a good 3 seasons, and Grumio on pole by 7/10 in the end, Ben. We could be in for a rout, but this is also Vegas. Anything could happen.
We're waiting for maybe just a few more seconds as we wait for Benlam to line up on the grid. It is curved, which I always find really interesting.
It'll be fun to watch these guys back of the grid getting off for the start. But here we go now. It's time for things to get underway here in Vegas. The lights about to come on for the 21st race of the season. It's Grumio and Imri on the front row for the run towards that first corner. Lights set, foot to the floor, and we are racing here in Vegas. Good start from Grumio there on the left-hand side going towards that first corner. He covers off Imri. As you see, Che looking for 2nd place as they go through turn 1. Dan is down the order and got a yellow flag already for the back, and that is AT around, and there's contact in turn 2 as well. Ethan's gone around. Lando's gone around, apologies. So McLaren and Aston Martin are down the tail end of the field. Grumio leads away from Imri and then Che in 3rd place. Websy in P4. Good start from the Alpine driver. HB Cook stays there in P7. TJ almost going into the back of Dan as they enter turn number 5 for the first time. You see DJ making a challenge on the Ferrari of Curtis to head up towards the sphere for the first time here. It's still Grumio in front, half second back to Imri in 2nd place, but tough starts to proceedings here for Ethan and Landlord. Ben, did you catch any of that lap 1 at all?
No, I think Landlord may have just gone for a move up inside of turn 1, and as if it weren't a disaster already for McLaren, Landlord has sustained big damage on the McLaren.
And plate damage, as you say, Ben, big damage that will likely require a pit stop at some stage in the Grand Prix to try and fix that. Ethan, I'm not sure if he's okay. He's lost his left one, so 2 bits of damage as Imri goes blasting past Grumio for the race lead down towards turn 14, but Grumio may come back at him here. That's what we're dealing with here in Vegas tonight. The 2 fastest cars on track going down towards turn 14. Imri is in front of Grumio and will lead the first lap of this race. As you saw Websy go a bit deep there into turn 14. It'll be something to keep an eye out for as these guys battle for position. Yellow flag, and that looks to be EJ, who's had some kind of problem. He's gone off the circuit on entry to turn 14, recovers it, and but down into 18th here. So the Ferrari team, with one of their cars with a lot of work to do, as Imri comes through to begin lap 2 of this race. He's got Grumio on his tail and Che in 3rd place. A 3-car train. It's more or less as you were from last week, Ben. It was these guys fighting for the win at the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
I don't know if you just about caught it on stream, but it looked like there were a bit of contact further behind, maybe down towards Dan and TJ. As we are looking at HB Cook trying to defend all his might against Curtis.
Number of cars in there behind him. Curtis, DJ, PJ as well. 10th cannon about 1.7 back. She's not concerned at the minute, but first car outside of the points. So obviously a few cars in the pit lane here. That's EJ, Landlord and Ethan have all made stops likely to repair damage from that first lap. But keep an eye out on these guys going back down this next straight, because Grumio's going to have DRS like no tomorrow, and Che is in behind him too. We could see Imri get double whammied on corner exit and down towards 14. So we're up to a lot of DRS management for the car in the lead to try and keep these guys behind at bay. So work to be done for Imre. We'll likely see a lead change here as they head down towards 14. It's a second, almost 2 seconds back to Websy in fourth. Dan may try and go for a move on him, but those DRS trains are going to be very crucial to watch as Grumio closes the gap to Imre. He's used a fair bit of his battery, but has maintained the lead surprisingly. Any such moves for the back, there goes HB Cook trying to challenge TJ. Can't quite get enough of a run. Bit of stop the contact for a second there between HB Cook and Curtis. Thought Curtis almost went to the back of the Sauber. Didn't. But he's kept it under control, I think, for the most part. He's got a puncture. No, I thought for a second he had a puncture. The car looks all good. But he's under pressure. He's lost a number of spots here. He's lost one to DJ, go down towards turn 1 as we begin lap 3 of this thing. And Che with fastest lap as DJ and Curtis side by side. Of course, Alpine looking to try and score more points than Sauber to ensure P6 in the Constructors. It's going to be a very tightly contested fight there. But with Websy in 4th place, Alpine look to be winning that fight as we stand.
It's advantage Alpine. They'll be taking a pretty good haul of points compared to HB Cook, who is there. He's not one to mess around with. He's got both of pace and that kicks out. But Ericsson is crucially lost out, so that could set a precedent for the rest of the Grand Prix. Can Ericsson recover?
Well, as of right now, he's stuck in that train behind JB now leading that line. 10th cannon down to P14, so lost a few places. Not sure if she's got damage. There it is, so there's end plate damage for 10th cannon, and yet with 2.5 laps into this thing, and another driver's been struck on that front wing, so we're going to keep an eye out for over the course of the Grand Prix here, because while obviously there's a lot of fast straights in the circuit, there are also a lot of tight corners, so that front wing is crucial to keep on your car to have a better chance of navigating the other parts of the racetrack. As down towards turn 14 again, Grumio keeps himself in line, as does Che. HB Cook making the pass on TJ going into turn 14, so HB Cook now sets to try and chase after Websy and Dan. So those guys leading the train P4, P5 as it stands right now. Sauber can nick a point or two off of Alpine if HB Cook can close that gap. Yellow flag in the final sector, and that's the car going slowly. That looks to be Ben, who's gone around out of turn 16. And he's keeping the car rolling. No sign of a puncture or anything. Let's keep an eye out. But there is wing damage to that car, so likely he'll need to pit and repair that. But he looks to be staying out, actually. Scrap that. Ben is keeping the car on circuit on those medium tyres and will continue on despite being down last of the running cars yet to pit in P17.
We start to see Ericsson find JB once again, this time into turn 5. Can JB wing around the outside, stays pretty well, but loses the rear on exit as Ericsson takes that P11.
Good move then from the south, but of course he's got a long way to go to try and catch PJ. 3.3 seconds up the road right now, and that could be tough with the lack of DRS and a very rampant JB wanting to fight back. And not to mention the 2 charging McLarens, or rather the 1 charging McLaren. AT's up to P13 here on those hard tyres, going longer on that first stint, then pushing on a light set towards the end as Ben gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting here, so likely a result of the damage he's accrued and staying out with on this lap. So we'll see whether he gets any more from that, but obviously that'll be tough for him to come back from 10 seconds to conserve it in the pit lane, but can't, well, obviously it cost him a fair bit of time as Grumio and Che both make passes on Imre here for the first time and take the lead back on the end of lap number 4, heading towards lap 5. Yellow flag in the last sector. Ericsson's out. No. Oh, crash on the back straight there.
I don't know what happened there.
Oh.
That was almost identical to when me and Obsessed had a bit of a collision down the back straight, but that's big for the constructors. With obviously the likes of Alpine running, well, they were running P6 and P8. I think we're moving, no, sorry, 5th and 7th.
Oh, red flag's out.
Oh, red flag.
Well. That is a big change all of a sudden.
A few drivers actually ended up pitting after that, so I'd love to see the grid.
Whether it counts back to the previous lap, I'm not too sure. We'll get an idea in about a minute or so, but unfortunately, us spectators are stuck with a black screen for the moment until we get back underway for the restart. But that is a big one. You know that something has happened when the game calls the red flag. But we'll get a sense here of everyone getting set to go in a moment when everyone ready's up. But wow, I mean, tough break for Ericsson. I'm not quite sure what happened, but a number of cars involved in that.
I think so, yeah. The game wouldn't red flag it unless there were multiple cars involved. So the only thing that I can maybe see is that Ericsson maybe had a bit of contact with JB, sent Ericsson into the wall. That's the only thing I can think of, and then another car ended up not being able to react in time.
I'm thinking there's also some sort of glitch in terms of cars coming to the pits. I'm being told by HV Cook that Imri was in the pit lane, who randomly appeared on the circuit, and he got a 10-second penalty for avoiding him. So I have to keep an eye out in terms of that later on. But here we go now onto lap 7, and the race about to get back underway again for the restart. You get us into those cars who have made changes to their tyres. We are back to racing here on lap 7 of this Grand Prix. Good start from Che on the inside. He'll take the lead by half a car into turn 1, and Grumio on the outside. Imri going for it 3 wide on those fresher tyres around the outside. That's going to work somehow for Imri. He gets 1 place. Can he get 2? Side by side on corner exit of Grumio going down towards turn 5. He's nipping in front by a little bit here, dead even between the 2 race leaders. Who's going to back off first? Going down towards turn number 5. He'll be the last to break. Grumio's got the inside line. He'll take the lead back. Imri in second, Che in third. And that was very big fuff on the back. I saw an end plate being lost there by somebody. I'm not too sure as to who that was. We'll keep an eye out for who has got damage on the circuit and who will be struggling to take the corners here. It looks like it's Curtis in the Ferrari. He's lost his end plate. So tough break there for Curtis, who is obviously up the order, but may have to pit now. And that might cost him big time over the course of the rest of this Grand Prix.
Now it's open up and move into turn 11 maybe. Bit of contact with the wall again for the Mercedes driver, Courtney. Looks like Courtney has also lost their end plate.
Yes, he has. Yes, I can see it from here. So that's 2 cars now in this first lap since the restart, as Grumio and Imri again side by side towards turn 14. They're ghosting here as they make their way towards the braking zone. Who's going to end up in front? Not quite sure as to who's going to be. Grumio gets away just in front of Imri. It's going to be a very tight battle here. HB Cook now sits in P5. He has 10 seconds for avoiding Imri. I imagine the stewards will look at that later on post-race whether they think to take that off as Imri tries the outside there through turn 17. DRS in play for the first, once again on lap number 8 now, as Grumio washed up the track. Imri takes the inside and takes the lead away, going through on the outside. They're close to contact between the 2 race leaders, and very tough stuff. No holds barred racing here. Rostrom Hospital for these guys up front, as Grumio challenging again for the lead. These 2 holding nothing back on the run down towards turn 5. Grumio moves back in the lead. Imri still on his outside. It's going to be very tight here through 5. Grumio gets back in front. I get more and more nervous that each time these guys go head to head, because that was very, very tense stuff. As you see Curtis leaving the pit lane now. Hard tyres in that car. Fresh front wing too. But all liars in this race for the lead up front. What a scrap this has been so far.
I got very worried into turn 5 there, as JB picks up his 3-second penalty and deemed to be the only driver with a 3-second penalty, but I don't think that will last for long.
I have to see in terms of who will be next on the chopping block in terms of what the stewards think for track limits for the time being. But for the moment, we could be looking at another move with DRS in play on the run down towards turn 14. Grumio using his battery. Imri's used a lot of his by comparison, and Che's going for a move first, so it could be a bit blocked in for Imri. He's going to try it anyway. 3 wide and potentially down towards turn number 14. Imri edging in front of Grumio and will clear the Williams going into turn 14. That'll be the place to look out for, as Landau makes the pass on JB for the back. Big trainer being blocked off by EJ, who currently sits almost 3 seconds back from AT in P10. Almost around goes. Contact into the RBs. Ben and Alvar collide, and Alvar is left with damage on corner exit. Wait, has he got damage, or is it the other one? I'm not too sure. I have to double check that. No, Ben's got it too. Ben is whether Ben's got more damage from his last stop, but things not going well for RB tonight. It's Courtney Goblin, 10 seconds of being in the pit lane. This race has been chaotic to say the least so far, Ben, and I'd be surprised to see who were left standing after the next 16 laps.
Yeah, it's been absolute chaos since this red flag came out, but I think we've got a bit of 2 trains forming here. Obviously, we've got the one right out up in front that set it all the way down to EJ in 11th, and then of course we've got one for back.
Slightly smaller one there, currently being led by the stricken RB of Ben. It looks like Ethan's also got damage as well. 10th looks to be all okay, I think, from what I can see. Tap to the outside wall for Alvar. Lucky to avoid any sort of damage on that front, I should think, given how violent that sounded in my headphones. Whether it's more than that, I have to wait and see later on. But Grumio leads Imri and Che. Those guys trying to pull away here, but Che almost falling out of DRS range. Slight more concern for him in that sense. DRS in play for Imri, though. No battery left in that car. No battery for Grumio either, which is a rare sight in the RDL these days. Imri charging towards turn 14 again with a good run regardless. Won't go for a send on this occasion. You can see behind, you can see TJ making moves. He's there in 8th place and trying to make a move on PJ. Can't quite do it. He's got Websy and AT on his tail. Obviously, in terms of point scoring places, because TJ obviously as a reserve can't score, the last point currently goes to EJ in the Ferrari, but he's got Lando right in his tail as Grumio goes fast as that. The McLarens have recovered fantastically thanks to that red flag. And now both cars are in the points paying places as Lando takes P11 away, and they'll both have points should they stay higher than where they are now.
That's another test penalty, and looks like Benler is retired. He's not had the greatest last couple of laps, being caught in that absolute melee at the end of the strip, and then of course 10-second penalty. That's his race. Everyone done.
Tough break for RB, who still sit there at the bottom of the table, as they have done for the majority, if not all season here, despite obviously their several lineup changes over the course of the campaign. We'll have to see if they can still recover things in the closing rounds of the campaign. Alvar is their main hope left to score points. He's still got the car moving, no damage on that RB, so but he might need a safety car to get himself back into the equation here. Obviously, it's a big gap from P10 to P11 as it stands right now. It's an even bigger gap from P13 to P14, obviously that train where Alvar is currently residing in. We're on lap 10 of this Grand Prix. It's been a wild first 10 laps, and there's still 15 more to go as Imri goes for a move to the outside this time, takes the lead away from Grumio. Can these guys go to the end of the hard tyres, Ben? What do you reckon from there, strategy-wise? Could we see one more stop?
It's going to be very tight. From what I've heard as well, we're going tyre wear. It's not the best around here, so it's going to be very tight on tyres, but we'll see. I guess we'll start to get a bit of an impression if Grumio and Liza Imri pit as well.
I think I agree with you. Those two are likely to be used as a benchmark. But speaking of just those two, the Haas boys look to be trying to join the party as Shea sits there in 3rd place, again hassling Grumio as he did last week for position number 2 on the circuit. Dan in P4, no penalty for him. Obviously, that 10 seconds still sitting there for HB Cook. Likely, he'll be banking there not being a second stop, so he'll end up serving that in the pit lane. And while he may get 10 seconds off his race time, it may cost him later on in terms of fighting for a podium finish. He'll be banking on everyone going all the way to the end of the race from where they are now, and then seeing later on whereabouts he ends up as they make their way through, coming out into turn number 9. Imri still showing the way. Honestly, it's a toss-up to any of these 4, maybe even 5 drivers with a chance to put themselves on the podium, if not win the Grand Prix. It'd be very interesting to see who does come out on top. But DJ has also joined this train. There's a bit of a gap back to PJ, who's almost out of DRS range completely. TJ's in behind him. AT and Websy, your top 10. Landlord is not really closing in as much as I thought he would, but he's closing slightly, so keep an eye out for him. But this top 10 looks to be set in terms of points scoring places. It's a case of we're about to come home, and as Grumio goes to the lead on Imri again.
Yes, I'm starting to get the impression that we're going to see this for a good few laps now, unless there's any interruption, is AT passes DJ. That's a bit of a crucial move for AT. As it's a move further back as well for Alvar, and Alvar is ahead of 10th.
So Alvar making those moves then, but only at one place. He needs 4 more to score a point as it stands right now. So we'll continue on with his saga and see whereabouts he ends up coming into the checker flag. But a 10th looking for a pit stop here. No damage on that car, so this looks to be a routine stop for her. She's been on those tyres more or less since the start of the Grand Prix. So we'll see in terms of what she's got in the locker in terms of strategy. But she's going for that first stop rather, and we'll see whereabouts she comes out. Hard tyres are on. She's going to the end of the Grand Prix on those, I should think, and she is away. But up front, though, it's still Grumio now leading Imri by 8/10, so big gains there being made by the Williams driver, gaining a lot of time in these more technical parts of the circuit. But Imri's going to need to keep in range here with Grumio in order to try and keep in step with the reigning champion to hold on to DRS. And Shea is at risk of falling away himself, so this train breaking up a little bit as Grumio continues to lead.
I think Grumio pulled 6/10 in that last sector on Imri. That's where he's getting most of the time. He will crucially just over a second going through turn 1, but with the DRS detection point being literally just after him, just about managed to get Imri.
So Imri hangs on to it. I saw Grumio improved his second sector by 8/10 there on 7-lap old hard tyres. And again, that's an ominous sign that he just keeps on seeming to give us as the rest of the race evening stretches on under the lights here in Vegas. But as we continue on to lap 12, we're nearing the halfway stage now of this Grand Prix, and Grumio holds the lead over Imri and Shea, our top 3. They've been the same top 3 more or less the entirety of the evening so far. Dan in 4th. HP Cook still in P5. Yellow flag, and that's EJ's out. Crash there, and safety car's out. And a crash down at turn 14 and 15, a much more crowded part of the circuit. And that might be a bit problematic for HP Cook, who will lose track position if he pits now. But safety car then.
Yes, he will. He will not pit. The safety car came out at the worst time for anyone to try and get to the end of the race, because now you've got a full lap to go without it. But by the looks of things, sorry, not PJ, Ethan has actually came in and had a front wing change, so I wonder if Ethan was involved in that incident.
Albar, same thing. So whether they were involved or whether they just got caught up in it potentially, had to keep an eye out. I mean, obviously not sure of EJ's perspective. Crashed down at that one of the tightest, one of the more claustrophobic parts of the circuit, let's call it, down at turn 14 and 15. We've seen it happen before. It happened in the very first Vegas Grand Prix here back in season number 15 with championship leader at the time, C110P fan involved. It was Aston Martin who actually took the second flag on that day. Stars Joe Volvo took victory for that team as his first win on his return to the IDL at that stage. But Grumio still shows the way under the safety car. But this gives a brief breather here, and we'll see in terms of what tyres these guys put on. Because imagine with a free stop in mind, the majority of cars won't keep on going on these same tyres. They'll likely pit and bolt on a flats and set of mediums to go to the end. So that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I don't know whether it being tyre wear, but maybe if you go harder on the allocation, may have another set of hard compound tyres left. So we'll see what, I mean, Che and Dan are going to have a bit of a decision to make, but it looks like Che has built a bit of a gap to Dan. Whether it's enough or not is Che nearly runs into the back of him, right?
That was close.
Yeah, it was awfully close.
There we go then.
So what happens in the pits? All chaos down here in the lane.
Money stop time for the majority of cars on the circuit here. What like your final pit stops get underway here in Vegas. TJ making his change on set hard tyres. Hard tyres look to be the weapon of choice here. Double stack for Alpine and Websy with a wing change as well. So that's not helping his case in that sense. DJ's out the circuit. P5 for him. HB Cook in 8th place. Obviously having to set that penalty. He's away now down in 10th. He will come out in front of Websy only just. So still scoring. Currently the point scoring goes into us. Actually, rather remains in Alpine's favor. Obviously Ericsson out and only 2 points being scored right now for HB Cook. So Alpine will increase that lead should things stay as they are on a day where both those two machines came to compete. And as it stands right now, it's looking good for the Renault-powered machines. But Grumio leads the way. Imri 2nd, Che 3rd, Dan 4th, DJ now 5th. So the top 5 remaining virtually unchanged since the safety car first came out. But we've now got just over 10 laps of racing likely to come to the end of the Grand Prix, and we'll see a winner. And it could be anyone. Let's be real.
Anyone in the top 4 or 5 are capable of winning this Grand Prix.
It's going to be great to watch.
Looks like AT's going a bit aggressive. He's gone for that medium while the top 6 have gone all hard. So let's watch out for the flying McLaren.
And Landlord there, P9. But both McLarens have recovered fantastically in this Grand Prix, given how Q1 went for them about over an hour ago. It's off their minds now and purely fighting for positions later on this Grand Prix. Obviously, it's unlikely they challenge for P1 in the Constructors of this play. I think the Constructors challenge is all but over, and tonight's race will likely confirm it. Obviously not officially, because they can still win the title, but it'll be tough to overthrow Haas and Williams in this late stage of the season. Of course, the JB also in the points paying place has that 3-second penalty to think about, so can't be too careless, I think, in terms of this late restart. But we'll keep an eye out to see where about he ends up. But safety car won't do well for him. But Grumio up front, getting good points. But saying that, it's still 27 points between Che and Dan being scored right now. So if there's a game, there won't be much in terms of what Williams can do. But Imri there in 2nd place, still gunning for that win, still gunning for the lead in this race. He's been fantastic so far in these first 14, 15 laps. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. If you had to predict me a race winner now, Ben, who are you going for?
I've got to say Grumio. I think Grumio is looking likely to win this Grand Prix.
We'll see if you are right later on in this race. Did you predict Che last week, or am I making that up in my own head?
I can't remember off the top of my head. The only one that I can't remember was qualifying, and now we're in on pole, and I got that one right.
That was it. Yes, that was good. That was a good first prediction. So far, I'll credit you on that. But and we'll see if you can go 2 for 2 this week in terms of getting the first place in at least one session, one of these sessions. Correct. We'll carry on later on. Courtney emerged from the pit lane here. Soft tyres for Courtney. That is an ambitious choice, I think. I doubt those will go to the end of the Grand Prix properly, but we'll see what he's got up his sleeve to try and make those things last the end of the race. But likely once he catches up, we'll have a restart. But it just comes down to whereabouts Courtney catches up. I think likely we should get a restart this time. I imagine he does catch up before the safety car reaches, I don't know, turn 16. So I should imagine it might be a late call, but we should get a start here.
We've seen it before. The safety car has been called in extremely late. Looking at it now, I don't think it will be called in this lap, despite the grid literally being bunched up to turn 1. I think they'll probably only doing about 35-40 mile an hour. So very tight.
Courtney's making
yeah, the
through.
safety car's got down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. There's that conclusion drawn out. So one more lap then, but honestly, I'm okay with that. That now gives us a good even less laps to really push it. I think the less laps they've got left, the more they'll push in terms of tyre performance and just how close they are and what they're willing to go for it. I'll say it now. I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one more safety car in this Grand Prix at some stage, or at the very least a VSC. It wouldn't surprise me this late on in the race, given how close this grid is and how close it's been so far today. I've seen a race here in the past, Ben, where Grumio, where there was one safety car in between, Grumio pulled away twice and built a 1 second advantage within the first few laps, even before DRS came in play. It would not surprise me it would surprise me that happened here, because Grumio he's come close a few times, but he's had no real chance of pulling away at all today. Unless he nails his last restart, which could be the last restart, you never really know, but I doubt you're going to pull away. I think we're going to get a fight for the win that goes right down to the last run down that DRS straight.
Yeah, it's one of them where if you fall just outside 1 second, then I guess that should pretty much screwed. But I mean, we've seen it with Imre on how much he pulled in on Grumio. So back on lap, I think it may have been on lap 12 when Grumio was literally just falling out 1 second. Sorry, Imre was falling out 1 second, but then managed to get DRS back and it wheeled him in about 4.5 tenths.
So a lot of gains can be made then, and that was with that was the low ERS, mind you. We've got full battery tanks for everybody here at the minute. There's not one person who's not have a full charge as it stands right now. It has to be pretty ridiculous to not have a high charge, if not full, at this stage of the race, given the safety car. But we should get the call from race control any moment now, saying that we're about to get back on the way for the restart. 9 laps to go, and it's anyone's game here. Anything could happen in this restart. We could see the two leaders take each other out at the first corner. You never really know. And that is the beauty of it. We're in the entertainment capital of the world. That is Las Vegas. And what better backdrop than this fantastic location here for these Formula 1 cars to go head-to-head for 9 laps. This is a sprint for the most part. And we'll see here who's got the nerves to come out on top. As Imre wants to get going. You can see him there trying to pull alongside Grumio. Grumio keeping the entire pack at bay here. Everyone quite bunched up, leaving turn 16. He's going for it now. Green flag goes back out. We're back to racing in Vegas. 9 more laps to go to settle this Grand Prix, and Imre is on the charge going down towards turn 1, but Grumio leads away. Che in 3rd, down 4th, DJ in 5th. You might see JB try to go for a challenge. AT defends the inside towards turn number 1. Trying on the Mercedes there, going into that first corner, in through turn 2 now. AT can't quite get it done with those medium tyres, but may continue on to try and give Mercedes and TJ some real pressure. JB slightly wide on corner exit behind those guys, but Grumio leads by 4 tenths over Imre. No DRS in play just yet. It's down to battery on this restart, but everyone keeping it nice and clean. But Ben, I doubt that'll be for long. We got a DRS straight coming up still.
It's about to really unfold as we are starting to see a number of cars now being bunched up from the light as I think PJ and Alba are going for position. Yes, they are. And it looks like PJ has just managed to pull that one off.
So PJ up a spot there over Alba, of course, has had a lifeline in this race, given he's RB's lone point scoring chance, but it's falling back here, 7 tenths back from the Aston Martin as he pulls away. PJ trying to challenge 10th for 12th in front of him, but up front, no DRS in play just yet, but it'll be a lot of overtake in the players. Imri's right on Grumio's gearbox on the run down towards 14. DRS is not in play for another lap, but it will be next time round. Even so, he's right there. Might make a move to the inside, or will he keep it in line for the minute? AT making a pass on TJ for the back. Imri not going for it. Will he try and hold it in line? It's a tactic we've seen. DRS chicken is very much a notable tactic used in these races. You see a light tap there to the outside wall for DJ's back right tyre. Keeps the car under control. No damage to Alpine, but with 8 laps to go, it is still all Grumio in front.
So DRS is now enabled, so we'll start to see the type change around quite a fair bit. Is we're already seeing is I think Wednesday and HP Cook may have made contact.
Yeah, may have got
Also,
over
Wednesday's gone right way to Wednesday's gone right away around the outside of turn 3 and 4 and pulled off the move. So that's critical for Alpine.
Obviously, good move for Alpine, which they now knock HP Cook down just to 1 point for Sauber. So things not looking good for the Kick Sauber team. The Swiss mechanics looking a little bit devastated here at the sight of their driver, which is the 1 point. Alpine gaining a lot more here. Ethan, penalty. That's only the second 3-second penalty all evening here. So, obviously, JB had the first one. Ethan the second one. HP Cook, obviously, that 10-second penalty may get removed come the checkered flag. So let's keep an eye out for that. We'll have to wait and see what the stewards say in the report later on this week. But for now, though, he has got to focus and try and get himself up the order as much as he can here. With DRS in play this time round, we could see Imri go for the lead this time. He's got a fantastic run on Grumio. This time going for it. Imri around the outside, moves up into the lead, and DRS now to his credit. Will he try and pull away? Can Che try and get Grumio now too? He will get Grumio. Che into second place for a moment, heading down towards turn number 14. Che may well clear the champion. Side by side, these two long-time rivals going at it in the tightest part of the circuit. This is this circuit's Baku castle section essentially. Imri pulling away here, 8 tenths in front, 8.5 tenths in front. Che and Grumio fighting and open the door wide open for the Red Bull. And with 7 laps to go, it's Imri in control. AT and DJ both setting fastest lap. Those two are here to play as well. Keep an eye out, Ben. This is going to be a fantastic last 7 laps.
It most certainly is, as that was crucial for Imri. When Che and Grumio were fighting through that turn 14 and 15, that was so crucial for him to near enough build a second. Unfortunately, he has not quite managed that, but looking advantage Imri at this moment in time.
So we hold the lead here, but crucially hasn't broke DRS just yet. I think he's going to need a bit more than this in order to ensure that happens. And once he does, that could be curtains for the field behind. Short of any mistakes that he makes, it's quite close. He's out of DRS range here, according to my timing, and that could be big for Imri, who may well try and pull away to win this race, try and get his first win in a long time. It's been quite a while coming, and behind, it's going to be close here. I dare say that he may end up outside of range. Che, yes, he is outside of range, and Grumio is all over him here, and that could be second place in the toilet for Che as Grumio makes the pass. He'll get DRS, and that might breach the gap. Once again, scrap that, he won't get DRS. Both cars, now one of them getting DRS here, which is very odd, as it's 3 wide behind them. TJ, so AT going for a move on DJ and Dan towards turn 14. What a scrap it is going behind the leaders here. AT, what a pass there, threading the needle up into 4th. Good point to McLaren, and 6 laps out from potentially a podium. Should turn out happens to the leaders, but DJ not willing to get up just yet. Down the inside he goes. That takes P4 back. 2 mega fights going on here for the race win with just 6 laps to go. What a race to turn out to be. The excitement builds lap upon lap upon lap. What drama here in Vegas. As Grumio may go for the lead here. Going down towards turn number 5. He will take the lead back from Imri. So Imri's dream potentially of pulling away to a 1-second advantage left in the dust. He's got to get his game face back on and try and follow way back around Grumio, but still plenty of opportunities to do it. And honestly, Ben, your prediction is coming closer and closer by the minute, but honestly, it's a coin flip as to whether or not you get it right.
We've said it before, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. As just watching the midfield tussle now, looks like we've got a bit of a DRS chain forming between the likes of the Alpine of DJ and then all the way back down to I was hoping Cook. So there's 8 cars all in this one DRS train.
And right now they're ending up with points in terms of full-time drivers, save of course for TJ, obviously as we say can't score but be looking to try and score next season to get the opportunity to in a full-time seat. He's currently faced, his main focus now is trying to get back around Dan in P6, as AT may well get DJ back. He will get DJ back. Will the Alpine come back at him, going down towards turn 17 as Imri swipes the lead back from Grumio. Che is back here watching this chaos play out. Contact there between Landlord and JB as Landlord emerges in front of that train. JB, no damage done, but losing momentum. And there goes HP Cook to go 2 places here. 3 wide, going towards turn 17. It's very tight here as they make their way into the corner. Closer contact, but Websy emerged in front. Again, bad news here for Sauber, as HP Cook now left to fight with JB for the 10th spot. 5 laps to go, and Imri leads Grumio. What a race this is. He's going for it again.
He's going to go right down to the wire. Right down until that 25, until that final straight. As it looks like the top 3 all broken away from AT.
AT there in 4th now by himself with the rest of the train behind him. Ben, honestly, for your first 2 races, you're being treated to absolute drama. This is front row seat stuff here. And again, it's this same rostrum going at it again for victory. But this time, they're much, much closer with much less room for error. And anyone could win this thing. It's honestly... has anyone got a 3-sided coin? This could go any one of 3 ways, but Che dropped back a little bit here as Imri is still chasing Grumio, who went over the curb bit at turn number 12, but recovered it nice and easy. But we still have DRS to contend with on the run down towards turn 14. Imri's got a lot more battery than we're used to, I think, compared to previous runs for victory for him. DRS in play. Grumio defends the racing line, which means Imri may try the inside, but Grumio now going to the left. So Imri has to try the right, going towards this braking zone. Can he get in front? Not worth it as of yet. Close to contact, and Che tapped his rear wing slightly, but keeps the car under control. No damage for either one of them. And with 4 laps to go, Imri going for it now, up towards the line for turn 17, looking for the race victory potentially in 4 laps time. Dan passing DJ behind him in the race for the 5th spot. AT still holding on in 4th, close to contact at turn 1. These two still going at it. It is absolutely balls to the wall. Absolute unbelievable stuff as they round turn 3 and 4. Imri holds his line on the outside, holds the lead for the minute, but Grumio coming back at him here. Neither car with DRS. Che is closing on both of them. Won't go 3 wide, I shouldn't think. Grumio's got the inside going into turn number 5. As Che was going to try the inside for a second there. Can't do it. AT slides out of turn 5. What a racing this is. Everyone's going for it. This sprint is absolutely mega entertainment.
What a fight between Imri and Grumio as Che loses back in slightly. All that fighting is brought the grid close up together as AT is now, well, it's just over a second on my timing screen and now just back under, so it's anyone's game.
Once again,
race to win.
Things open up for literally the entire roulette wheel here to start spinning, and any one of them could emerge with the victory, provided that AT can keep on bridging that gap between him and Che in terms of DRS. Things open up for so many drivers here in terms of a race for a podium finish or even the win. You never know. Dan back into 4th place. Imri and Grumio both going at it again. Che might make the pass as well. Che keeping the car at bay, backing off here. So games already starting to get played here at the highest table here on the Las Vegas Strip. Imri off of turn 16, 3 laps from victory, but has a very hungry Grumio and a very hungry Che to contend with in these closing laps. And don't count out Dan, AT or DJ as well. This is anyone's game and stuff, but these two content to scrap for P5 right now. It's still fighting McLaren versus Alpine into turn 1. DJ starts up the circuit, allowing AT through. P5 for the McLaren and Landlord in P8, not too far behind either, but as TJ contend with as well. Grumio going for the lead again now, makes the pass. And honestly, going down to this last lap, I'm not quite sure who's going to emerge in front, but it's going to depend on who comes into turn 5 in position, because they've all got ERS. There's no particular game where we'll see you guys try and pull away in the last lap. It's going to be absolutely chaotic stuff. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep my pulse down for it, if I'm being completely honest, Ben.
It's an absolute mammoth scrap out in front. The one thing that Che is doing really well is looking after the battery. Che's got way more battery compared to the top 2 in front of him. Imri's doing a pretty good job, as we saw in Brazil. Imri started to struggle with his battery. It's like Imri is the one in the worst position.
I mean, you say that, but as it stands right now, Grumio in the lead with no DRS and the lowest battery too. But I think he might be trying to pull a gap now it won't be much to help him because both cars behind him have DRS, as will Dan in 4th place, of course. Not as much of a factor in the race for the win, but might still close in and give these guys a late headache as Imri makes the pass to the inside once again on Grumio. It's cat and mouse over and over again as Che this time tries the inside for Grumio and needs to go side by side once more, close to contact in terms of side pods. Oh, Che slides out to turn number 15 and holds onto it somehow, but down to 3rd place, still in the DRS range, not over from just yet, but Imri now the 7/10th lead with just 2 laps to go here in Vegas. And further back in the order, HBK holds on to that last point. JB is currently got to contend with PJ behind, but obviously PJ...
Sideways.
Oh, Landlord! You caught that, Ben?
Sideways. Rejoins in front of the Kix Albert and them two made contact, so... That was very fast stuff. Will we see that up in front? Who knows what could happen in the final couple of laps?
We've seen Carr standing already up front there, Ben. Obviously, saw Chase starting out turn 5 a few laps ago, just slid again there just a matter of moments ago. And these guys have obviously been in these tyres only for about 10 laps, but tyre wear has been high here in Vegas tonight as Imri runs wide there at turn 9, but recovers it, keeps the car in front. Now, the question is, this is a chess game at this point, Ben, because we're not quite sure who's going to want to emerge out of turn 12 on a lap's time in front. Dan is now joining the picture completely here. He is right behind. It's a 4-way scrap for the win between arguably the 4 fastest drivers in the league, and on the circuit right now is going to be such a tense race of victory. I'm not sure if Imri's in the right seat, truthfully, going into this last round. It's going to be one last spin of the roulette as we come through to begin the last lap in a matter of moments' time. As it stands right now, Imri's got a 4/10th lead. Grumio closing in. Che trying to challenge. Dan is in there as a cameo appearance in behind. No moves such as yet, but this could still be a last lap scrap for the ages. PJ passing JB. JB, that penalty likely will not score points here for Williams. It's down to Grumio to get 25 points to help to minimize the damage for Haas in the Constructors' Championship. This is it, Ben. One more lap to go. The bell lap here in Vegas, and there goes Che trying to move at turn 1. Can't get close enough. Grumio slides up. Imri in the lead here in the last lap, looking for that first victory in over 3 seasons here. F1 23 was the last time he took victory. The end of 2023, the calendar year. It's been nearing 2 years since his last victory. Grumio's going for it, but keeps his car in line. And Imri's making him try the inside here, but it's going to be a question who wants DRS in the last part of the lap. They're side by side for the race lead here, and Dan is there looking behind them. And Che might go for a late appearance, might take it under both their noses here as they make their way in towards or nearing turn 12, Ben, for the last time. It's anyone's race still, with one more DRS zone to come and a straight up to the checkered flag.
You're still here as well, so this is turned into a 5-car fight for the lead.
Indeed. AT right there as well. Keep an eye on him. Grumio trying the inside. Someone's got to end up with no DRS. The question is who's going to be. It's looking like Imri, but everyone's got a full charge here. It may come down to who's got DRS. And this is it. The definitive last shootout to determine who wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix of Season 19. One last run towards turn 14. Imri is waiting for that move to come from Grumio. His first win in a long time sits on the line. Imri defends the inside. Grumio gets there first. Underneath. There goes the champion to the inside. Can Imri stick with it? Going through turns 14. Imri slides. Grumio contact. Around goes Imri on the final lap, but he's falling down the order. Grumio makes contact and gets away with it and passes Imri on the last moment. Grumio comes through. Checkered flag is up. Salve Grumio wins the Vegas Grand Prix. Chase second, Dan third, and Imri will be gutted there. Spun out in the final lap. Contact was what a race that was. You've got a feel for Imri in the closing moments there, but Grumio had the run and comes through for another victory in Season 19. But what an absolute chaotic scrap that was there, Ben. In the closing moments, you have been utterly treated, my friend, to perhaps the best Grand Prix of the season in terms of pure entertainment, but Grumio on top once again and has found a way to win.
Yeah, I'm sure something will be said between the two drivers of Imri and Grumio regarding that contact. I think Imri ended up finishing 16th overall as a result of it, but look at Haas up there.
Haas double podium indeed,
double podium.
So that's big points for them in the Constructors and major implications in terms of that title as they look to be bringing home the championship unless Williams can stop them in the closing races. But Grumio is victorious here and 3 rounds to go. I have to watch that back. I'm not entirely sure as to what actually happened on that last lap in terms of the way those two were scrapping position. But it was all out, and I got the feeling that Imrie wasn't going to back down with the win on the line. But amazing stuff. Grumio wins the race then. Chase second, Dan third, AT in fourth, TJ in fifth, Websy, DJ, HB Cook, Landlord, PJ, and Alvar in the end will end up with a final point. Alvar gets himself to P11. TJ can't score, so that 1 point goes to RB on a day where Ferrari don't score. JB 12th, Curtis 13th, Ethan 14th, Cotley 15th, Imrie in 16th. Again, got a feel for him. We'll have to see if he's in good spirits. 10th, 16th, and EJ, Ben Lim, and Ericsson all failing to finish this absolutely delightful, entertaining Grand Prix. Las Vegas, honestly, I can't remember the last time it actually disappointed us in terms of a Grand Prix. What a race that was. Absolutely rostrum to hospital, or rostrum or hospital rather. Ben, honestly, I need to know your thoughts, mate, because that was a titanic race.
It is arguably better than Brazil. Now, Brazil was a good race itself, and of course, it was over a longer duration, but that titanic scrap on the final lap with 5 cars that all could have won that race. Wow, just wow.
I'm looking back at the replay here, and there was I think there was contact in the first place. I think Grumio and Imrie's back ends collided, and Grumio got the better drive off going into turn 15, and then from there, as Imrie tries to recover his car, he finds himself sort of at Grumio's rear axle, and Grumio doesn't really need to make a move there to avoid. I mean, I doubt he could really avoid that, to be fair. Imrie just sort of went around in the end. I mean, pace was ridiculous for Imrie tonight. It feels gutting for him to not go home with any points after a Grand Prix such as that. But you know what? It's the final lap in Vegas. You've got to go for it. Grumio did that. You can't fault him for trying. But again, absolutely chaotic scenes here, and we'll see in terms of post-race interviews who comes and joins us. But yeah, just ended up contact with something for Imrie, and ended up at Grumio's rear axle. And that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Just reading the chat now, by the looks of it, it looks like Imrie may have felt a bit of contact in the rear. That's apparently what happened, so I don't know if Jay's involved. I don't know if it's just Imrie was just making it up to try and make it sound less embarrassing. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll get words from anyone really, if anyone comes along to give us a chat. But wow, definitely one of the most entertaining races of the season, if not one of the most entertaining races I've ever seen in this league. I've never really seen it go all the way to the line like that. I mean, I'd say had they kept it clean in those last few corners, we were on for a scrap to check a flag, and it was coming down to who had the most battery and the better run off the last corner. It would have been side by side to the end, and that would have been absolutely cinematic. But I'm still sort of catching my breath after the whole thing there. No, that's unbelievable racing. Everyone did a fantastic job tonight.
Yeah, it must be said. Everyone that finished the race, of course, everyone that started the race, ended up putting in a good shift. So, congrats to Grumio on the win, and obviously congrats on Haas for the double podium, which crucially takes more points out of Williams.
Definitely. I mean, even with Grumio taking the win, that's still a. I think that's a 33 points for Haas. An 8-point gain should put them to 54 in the standings. So, or 54-point lead in the standings. So big stuff for Haas today. And we are nearing the point now where they may actually wrap the title up a race early. They may finish it in Abu Dhabi. I mean, as of right now, there's still a whole 1-2 in front. So Williams would need a lot in these last few races to upend the Haas team. But I think, honestly, I might just going to have a lie down, truthfully, because that was crazy stuff.
Maybe.
Nah, probably not, but you get the idea of what we just experienced.
That was chaos.
Those last 10 minutes, yeah. That safety car definitely changed the equation. We'll give it that.
Absolutely. I think basically, I think the red flag also spiced up as well.
Oh, I mean, wowzers. Just a close Grand Prix, hard contested by everyone. Che will obviously gain a fair few points on Landlord. Of course, 17 points separating those two coming into this. That fight for third place in the Drivers' Championship looks closer and closer as the races go by. And there's still 3 more rounds to come. We've still got Qatar, which could be chaos next week. Abu Dhabi, which is always a good race as well, and Silverstone. So 3 equally entertaining races that have potential to be absolute RDL classics. I'm looking forward to the next 3 races. So guys, that'll do us then. It looks as though we're by ourselves to end things off. Thank you all so much for watching tonight's RDL Grand Prix. It's been a pleasure to cover it from myself and Ben here in the commentary box. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more RDL action, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.